There are more than 100 pyramids in Egypt, all built when Egypt was one of the wealthiest and most influential civilizations on the entire planet. The ancient Egyptians believed that these pyramids connected heaven and earth. The pyramids were built to have smooth angled sides, symbolizing the sun's rays, to help the king's soul ascend to heaven and join the sun god Ra. These pyramids are now unique archaeological monuments that have stood the test of time thanks to remarkable building engineering. The pyramids have withstood war, natural disasters, and even time itself. To date, the way these pyramids were built remains a mystery. Join us in today's video as we reveal the secrets of their construction and tell you what these pyramids are made of. Don't go anywhere, strap in and keep watching till the end. You are in for a sweet ride. Out of the 7 wonders of the world that existed a while back, only the Great Pyramid of Giza is largely in one piece till this present day. It is almost 4,500 years old. This pyramid stands in the Giza Plateau, on the left bank of the Nile. It is the northernmost of the 3 Great Plateau Pyramids, which bear the names of the pharaohs of ancient Egypt. These pyramids are closely aligned to the 4 geographic cardinal directions. The Pyramid of Giza, in particular, has smooth sides, a square base, and is single-tiered. At the top, you will find a 10-meter long and 10-meter wide platform. For a long time, this pyramid was the tallest structure on the planet. This pyramid is called Akhet Khufu, which means the horizon of Khufu. Khufu was the second pharaoh of the 4th dynasty. He succeeded his father, Sneferu, as king. The Pyramid of Giza initially had a base length of 233 meters, covered an area of 54,289 square meters, and stood tall at 146.6 meters. Tiles have been removed and stolen from the Pyramid of Giza, and the rising sand levels have reduced the dimensions of this pyramid. Originally, the Pyramid of Giza was as tall as a 50-story skyscraper. Now, it isn't as tall as that anymore. It is a well-known fact that there used to be a piece of granite called the Pyramidion at the top of the pyramid. In ancient Egypt, it was called Ben Benet. It was believed that the pyramid was one with the sacred stone. Very few Pyramidions have made it to our time. They usually have the name of their owner written on them. The builders and engineers that worked in this structure must have had a lot of knowledge. The pyramids were all built on a flat surface with a horizontal deviation, not more than 2 centimeters. The Pyramid of Giza weighs approximately 7 million tons, with a total of 2.3 million stone blocks. The blocks are made of clay limestone and are stacked in 210 tiers, and we have 203 tiers intact as of today. Each block weighs about 2.5 tons, and the heaviest is 7.5 tons. How were they able to hoist things that heavy? The pyramid was covered with white limestone, while the top was done in layered gold. It must have been quite the sight back in the day. The blocks used were delivered from quarries, and some of these quarries were a long way from the construction site. To date, we don't know how these blocks were transported. Who built the pyramids? The popular conception is that the pyramids were built by enslaved people, but archaeology findings have debunked that concept. They believe that these pyramids were designed by free people. Mark Leiner and his team discovered settlements in the Giza Plateau where the builders lived. Herodotus wrote that the builders worked in shifts of 3 months, with the biggest number of workers needed at the stage where the blocks had to be moved and material transported. It is estimated that it must have taken 20,000 people to build the Pyramid of Giza. While manpower and unskilled laborers changed, the architect and professionals working on the pyramids worked permanently. Animal bones, stoves, and utensils were found at the site of the settlement for the builders. That's explainable because people needed to eat really well to get the strength to build a pyramid as large as the Pyramid of Giza. What's true? What's not? There are many versions of how these pyramids came to exist. Some resemble myths and legends, while others sound like they might be true. Some people believe that these pyramids were built with the help of the aliens or by aliens. The technology required to have built these structures would have had to be very complex. Looking at the level of technology back then, this is almost believable. It is only hampered by the fact that we don't think aliens exist. In the Egyptian records, there were no mentions of an extraterrestrial civilization. This theory is probably just a myth. Maybe the answers will be known to us someday. Another theory is that these pyramids are encrypted with a secret message from an ancient civilization and could have been used for astronomical observations. Science has debunked this theory, saying that it is based on incomplete data. Another theory proposes that these pyramids were made from grain storage. There were grains in these pyramids, and they might have served as a tomb for pharaohs. According to Egyptian beliefs, the grain found in them might have been part of the riches he would need in the afterlife. Egyptians strongly believed in the afterlife, and they believed the dead would only be accepted under two conditions. One was by providing the dead with everything he could possibly need in the afterlife, and that's why tombs always contain good stuff and always get looted. What building materials were used in the pyramids? The methods used to construct these pyramids still remain a mystery. There was an opinion that the huge stone blocks used in the construction were made with concrete, but a geologist, James Harlow, has thrown that opinion out the window. He studied the maps and noted the quarries in Egypt. He paid attention to what was mined from those quarries and the era it was used the most. There used to be about 128 quarries. Gypsum and anhydrite were mined in 3 of these quarries, sandstone in 36, and limestone in the remaining 89. This showed that the Egyptians used rocks that were easy to process. The main ones are limestone and sandstone. Limestone was readily available. The Pyramid of Khafre is the second largest pyramid in Giza. The limestone required to build the blocks was mined right next to the construction site. Archaeologists have found the remains of limestone mines near the grounds of the Pyramid of Khafre. Later, builders began making use of sandstone, but it had to be transported. The sandstone was used to strengthen the structures. They also used granite and basalt, which were essential in building the pyramids. Delivery. We still wonder how materials were transported. It is hard to believe all the materials were carried on the backs of enslaved people. Transportation would have been a challenging task. Ancient Egyptian fresco depicts 172 people pulling an alabaster statue on a sled. The picture showed one person pouring water along the way, so sliding it could be easier. Scientists have also experimented on this theory and confirmed that it could work. The Egyptians also knew how to roll on brick roads using 2 parallel gutters filled with balls. Fragments of roads like these have been discovered and preserved near quarries and pyramids. In 2013, excavations on the Red Sea coast led to the discovery of an archive of papyri. Most of them were bills, 2 of them being descriptions of the daily job routines for 40 workers. The text describes how limestone blocks were transported from the Teru quarry to the Pyramid of Giza, a distance of 12 kilometers. The workers used dams to divert water from the Nile so that canals could be created. Then, a dozen blocks would be loaded on a wooden sailing boat and transported to the pyramid. Working at heights. Scientists believe that the workers must have used scaffolding to hang whatever they needed on a rope. To lift the load, the rope has to be twisted. In 2018, archaeologists found a ramp system. It was a sloping surface with 2 sides with poles in the ground. Workers will lift blocks on the surface using ropes thrown over these poles. The technology. Technology wasn't as advanced as it is now. After laying the blocks on top of each other, there were small gaps between them. These gaps needed to be filled with something. The Egyptians created a gypsum-based solution that was used to fill the spaces. It was subjected to dehydration, and they did that by heating it. The substance will harden quickly when water is added, turning back into gypsum. When working with soft stones like limestone, workers used bronze and copper picks, chisels, hammers, and even stone analogs of these tools. Harder rocks like basalt, granite, and quartzite were processed with dolerite tools. Drilling and sawing were carried out using copper or bronze tubes and toothless saws using abrasives like quartz sand. Hieroglyphs and other images were created using flint chisels. The pyramids are buildings or mysteries with many theories and speculations around them. If only we had travelers from the last to tell how they were constructed and why. Millions of people continue to visit these pyramids, drawn by the grandeur and enduring allure of Egypt's rich and glorious past.